So moving into the belly down, back bends. From the forward bend, we can just cross our legs and kind of bring our hands in front and then come forward and bring the legs in back, and we can lower down. Or if that's uncomfortable, people can always just swing their legs around and lay down on the belly. So I like to make a pillow with the hands and rest either the cheek or the chin or the forehead on the pillow, whatever is more comfortable for people. And I guess by bringing the arms in front, you can kind of inchworm the heart a little forward, and it kind of relaxes it opens up the heart a little bit by having the arms kind of open. Typically the big toes together and the heels kind of falling apart, so the knees kind of are together and then they're opening up just naturally. Beautiful. And a lot of times the first thing I'll have people do is just take a few nice deep breaths here. And as they inhale in the belly, they'll feel the low back is lifting up and lowering down, because there's no space for the belly to expand forward, so it lifts up. And this provides a nice massage for the low back. You know, as you inhale, the spine, the low back lifts, it'll actually bring the hips back a little bit. Then as I exhale, it'll bring the hips forward, you know, the back, you know, the back of the hips. So there's this nice rocking of the hips, which provides a little bit of a massage for the, you know, the leg muscles, but it provides quite a bit of massage for the low back. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands under the shoulders for the Cobra. So the elbows stay nice and close to the body, and the shoulders back, and you can bring the chin to the floor, or the forehead to the floor rather. And then we're going to reach the heart forward as we're lifting up. So the elbows hug the body and shoulders back, and we can lift up. So we can, you know, using the arm muscles and the back muscles here. So you can lift up, you know, there's any varying degree, and it's going to work a slightly different muscle, and it's going to stretch in slightly different ways. But the hips typically stay on the floor here, and we're just arching back. So the biggest things people usually do is they'll have their elbows out, you know, so we want to watch for that, and they'll have their shoulders up. So bring your shoulders up to the ears, there we go. So this is what people will look like a lot of times. So I tell them to bring their elbows in and the shoulders down. So the elbows are actually reaching towards the hips here. Palms a little bit flatter in. So they're really engaging the arms here and using the back muscles. Beautiful. So this is a hard pose too. So probably don't stay up more than, you know, 10 breaths for, you know, 5 breaths for, you know, a beginner type class, or 10 breaths for a more advanced, or then, you know, beyond that you can go however long you want. And you can lower back down the same way, reaching the heart forward as we come down. Beautiful. You know, and a good adjustment, or just kind of self-adjustment here, is to bend the knees, bring the feet to the sky, and then just kind of windshield wiper the knees side to side. You can bring them almost down to the floor. Kind of, you know, this rocks the hips, provide that massage for the low back, provides that opening in the hips as well. And then let's go ahead and just move right along. We come into the Locust. So we'll bring the arms underneath the body, bring typically the palms down if it's comfortable. If it's uncomfortable, you can have the palms up. The chin is on the floor. You have enough room there with your chin? Yeah, it looks barely. And we'll do the kind of half locust first. We can reach the right leg back and lifting it up. Beautiful. And we can lower that down. And the other leg lifting up. So the adjustment here would be to just gently pulling back and lifting up. So there's a reaching back of the leg and lifting it up. We try to keep the hips fairly square here, so we're not trying to lift the hip so much here. We try to let the other leg be nice and gentle, and we can lower back down. And then just a variation of this, let's go up with the right leg again. And bend the left knee, bring the foot underneath the knee. So this kind of provides a nice support here. Beautiful. So this doesn't take quite as much energy as the other pose, and you can kind of, the hips are kind of hanging from this hammock here, so we can kind of slowly bring the hips back down towards the floor. That's the opening that's going on here. And then you can lower down and do the other side. So the trick for this one is to bring the other foot underneath as you bend the knee Beautiful. So typically the locust is not people's favorite pose, but once you show them this, then they start to enjoy it a little bit. And we can lower down. Then we'll take a few deep breaths before we do the full locust. Just maybe repositioning the hands, bringing the shoulders more under the body. And we'll inhale, and we lift both legs up as high as they'll go. So this is a difficult pose. A lot of people, this is where we'll be, or maybe not even this high. Just keep engaging, keep pushing down with the hands. So adjustments here, you can just gently pull back. So I want to keep pulling back so I'm not jamming the spine. And then you can kind of, some people, if they're flexible, you know, you've seen their back bends before, you can lift up. Again, I'm always pulling here. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Can you go farther? Mm-hmm. And then maybe you can bend the knees. So once she bends the knees, then I can grab here, and she can come kind of more into the full pose. Again, I'm having a little traction on the spine at all times, pulling the legs down. I hope that didn't hurt your back or your knees too much. Just got to be careful wherever you're, you know, pulling. If you're pushing in one spot, sometimes it can feel hard. And then you can lower down. Nice job, Ryan. That's a hard pose. So we can bring the hands under the face, making a pillow. So these three belly down back bends. The Cobra, we work from the top of the spine, you know, lifting the head. The Locust, we work from the bottom of the spine, lifting the hips. And then we come to the bow, and we can bend the knees, and we work from both sides, so hips and the shoulders lifting. So grabbing the ankles or the feet, and then we'll inhale, lifting up. Beautiful. So here we want to engage the thighs. Think about we're straightening the legs out. And again, I know she can go a little farther, so she's limited a little bit by strength in this pose because it's an anti-gravity pose, so I feel like she has a little bit more flexibility, so I'm going to help her out. Again, I'm using my legs, my back straight, I'm just lifting straight up, beautiful. And then we can lower down. And then I'll see if he has any opening. Probably not as much since... Yeah, not going very much here. And lowering down. Beautiful. So a variation on that pose, if people are not able to reach their feet, is you can just reach back for the feet. So just bend your knees, reach back for the feet, and you just kind of do this. And this is a great one too. Or maybe even interlacing your hands. And we can lift up. Beautiful. Or any other variation, you can lower all the way down, reach the hands in front. You can come up into a Superwoman pose. This is a great pose. I'm always amazed at how high people can come up into this pose. Even beginners who you wouldn't think are very strong, who would not even be able to approach the bow at all, or the locust or any poses like that, they can come into this pose really well. So this is a great pose, I think. Yeah, and then after the belly down back bend, so there's three. You can, you could do them up to 2 times each, I guess. So you do 2 cobras and then 2 locusts and 2 bows. And then you bring the hands under the shoulders, and we'll push up onto the knees all the way back into child's pose. This is a pretty critical pose to do afterwards because we've just built up a lot of tension by engaging the back, and we want to release that tension here. So it's like each breath can release a strap of tension. And then the adjustments here. We've gone over this. You can massage, push down. And if, most people who are fairly flexible, you can push fairly hard here. And again, we can see his nice curved spine here. He has a tendency to reach your heart forward. There we go. We want to lengthen that spine, add a little bit of that back bend to all of our forward bends here. Beautiful. And in child's pose, you can have your hands back, or you can have your hands in front. Sometimes people, if their hips aren't quite down, they can kind of push with the hands to kind of counterbalance because gravity's not really working for them.